Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Linda Dick, and I'm one of the many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either a donation or by volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, January 17th, 2025. Neepawa's historic Kerr Block being upgraded. The Kerr building in Neepawa has been renovated over the last few months, including the installation of new windows earlier this month. Renovations are actively underway at the Kerr Block in downtown Neepawa. This past week, new windows were installed and tons of material have been removed from the interior of the building. Removal of old windows, interior material, and appliances has been ongoing since last fall, as a parade of dumpsters have been coming and going from the building. The building has long been a feature of Neepawa's historic architecture, as it was built in the 1890s by the Kerr family. Originally, it was a two-story retail space, but in the 1930s, the upper level was converted to 5 suites. After the third generation, John Kerr, closed the department store, the building was a royal bank. Then several retail outlets and a gymnasium. As it deteriorated under out-of-town ownership, it was closed due to safety concerns by the health department. Residential tenants were required to vacate at that time. Citizens and town officials alike worried that the building would be lost. It appears the new owners are taking the renovations very seriously. And Neepawa Health Centre welcomes our New Year baby. Congratulations to Daniel and Kayla Waldner, who are the proud parents of the Neepawa Health Centre's first newborn child of 2025. Madia Waldner was born on Monday, January 6th at 6:13 p.m. and weighed in at 8 pounds, 5 ounces. The Banner and Press congratulate the family and wish them happiness and peace for the years ahead. NACI, excuse me, NACI Hope Group appreciates community support with successful initiatives. The Neepawa Area Collegiate Hope Group has had a busy start to the 2024-25 school year with the organization and completion of some hands-on community projects. The group arranged another annual fall Scare Away Hunger food drive that brought in 3,725 pounds of food and $400 in monetary donations. All collected items from the food drive were successfully delivered to the Neepawa Salvation Army. Throughout the months of November and December, a Bundles of Hope drive was initiated to bring kindness and warmth to individuals in need through a bag collection. The care packages included essentials such as new hygiene products, gently used jewelry, and winter accessories. The Neepawa Salvation Army received some of the bags to be able to give to clients in need, while the remaining 70 filled bags were taken to Brandon for distribution. The Brandon locations that were recipients of the bags include the Samaritan House Food Bank, Mary's House, the Safe and Warm Shelter, and the Women's Resource Centre. Hope would like to acknowledge and thank Manitoba Hydro in Neepawa for their generous contribution to the Bundles of Hope campaign. And a big thank you goes to the Neepawa Arts Forward for providing the Hope Group with a community drop-off location. Hope would also like to send a special thank you to the Neepawa and area community for their generous donations and their efforts towards supporting the local causes. December also saw Hope members encourage community involvement throughout NACI by selling bells from the Salvation Army Bell campaign to collect money for Christmas hampers. A total of $425 was raised by NACI staff and students. Hope continues to collect tabs to support children in need of medical treatment, and any donations from the community can be dropped off at the NACI main office. As always, keep an eye out for all upcoming activities the Hope Group has planned ahead. Well done. Frozen Fire Studio wins the Canadian Choice Award, a locally based business honored with national recognition. For the second straight year, Neepawa's Frozen Fire Studio has been recognized on a national level. Earlier this month, it was announced that the local recording and production studio was a winner of the 2025 Canadian Choice Award. The prizes are bestowed each January by the national organization to spotlight the achievements of small to mid-size Canadian-based businesses. This year, Frozen Fire was singled out for the best live audio services, DJ services. In 2024, the company was honored for its work by CCA in a separate category, Best Recording and Production Services for Small Business. Jeff Descender, the owner and operator of Frozen Fire, said being recognized once again this year, especially in relation to a different aspect of the business, is very flattering. We are so humbled that people think of us enough to vote for us and nominate us for these awards. We always feel so loved when we get news like this. Even though we don't do what we do for the accolades, we do what we do because we wholeheartedly love what we do. As for what an acknowledgement like this actually does for the business, Descender noted it has helped to get their name out there. That being said, while it has opened doors, the way they do business and treat customers has kept them open. After winning the award last year, we focused heavily on showcasing what makes us stand out from the rest of our competition in the industry, all while still keeping the "you're not a client, you're family" customer service mindset. It did help actually after winning in 2024. We ended up doing some studio work for some musicians that were in various locations around the world: Nashville, California, Texas, and more. It also helped to increase our views for the multitude of artists on our numerous series and playlists to help them gain more traction with their music. And if you're interested in a movie, Roxy Theatre on January 17th and 18th at 7:30, showtime, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And if you missed those dates, you can go January 19th. There's a matinee at 2 p.m. Thumbs up and thumbs down. Thumbs up to participating choirs, the Choraliers, Santo Domingo Choir, the Hymns, and hosts the Neepawa and Area Community Choir at Neepawa United Anglican Shared Ministry for a wonderful service of lessons and carols on December 15th. And thanks to the community members who came out to enjoy an evening of Christmas song and story, and who donated over $1,600 to the local Salvation Army Community Ministries. Submitted by Blair Chapman and Susan Salmon, Neepawa Area Community Choir Directors. Thumbs down. Why is it that when the latest flu or COVID or influenza strain comes out, almost every trucker, farmer, mechanic, restaurant owner, etc. becomes an expert in the medical field, instead of following what the thousands of people in the field who deal with it daily have to say? When my tractor breaks down, I don't get my wife to fix it. I might get her to pay for it, but I will go to the expert to fix. P.S. If you want to continue to put a strain on the medical system, keep listening to whatever Google tells you instead of the experts. Submitted by Jim Krasaniak of Neepawa. Thumbs up. Neepawa Middle School would like to extend a thumbs up to Mr. Bob Ferguson for his continued procurement of games, books, and supplies for students to enjoy. He goes above and beyond helping teachers, new and old, find supplies for various activities that enhance student learning. Thank you from the Neepawa Middle School teachers. Submitted by Marina Sawick, grade 8 teacher, Neepawa Middle School. And one last thumbs up. Thumbs up to Yvonne Sisley, Miles for Mental Health, the CRAFT program directors, and the childminders for running the Mums Morning Out program at Arts Forward. It is a fantastic program that all the mums really enjoy. This thumbs up is by Leanne Zettler from Neepawa. I'm going to turn to the back page, and happy to announce that Rotor's Bakery and Pizzeria reopens in Neepawa. Rotor's Bakery and Pizzeria in Neepawa held its official reopening on Monday, January 13th. After plenty of hard work and renovations, the Rotor's team is now operating at its new location at the corner of Mountain Avenue and Hamilton Street. Congratulations. Look forward to trying that pizza. MP Dan Mazer says Parliament needs to get back to work. Dan Mazer was very much looking forward to getting back to work for the constituency of Dauphin, Swan River, Neepawa in early 2025. Those plans have come to a standstill. However, due to the resignation of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. On Monday, January 6th, Trudeau announced he will step down and end his 9-year stretch as Liberal Party of Canada leader and Prime Minister. Trudeau has faced growing calls to quit since early December, when Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland abruptly resigned. The Prime Minister said he would stay on in office until his political party can choose a new leader, and that Parliament would be prorogued, suspended, until March 24th. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election, said Trudeau. Our local member of Parliament, Dan Mazur, voiced his reaction to the news in a recent phone interview with the Banner and Press. Mazur noted that the suspension of Parliament should be disappointing to all Canadians, as it halts any and all progress for the next 3 months. Progress that should be made will not be made, noted Mazur. Important legislation is now stuck in limbo. It all stops, and that's not just paralyzing Parliament, but it paralyzes Canada. Mazur also stated that with the upcoming inauguration of Donald Trump as the new President of the United States, Canada needs to focus on the proposed tariffs he has suggested implementing, and not the uncertainty of our nation's leadership. If these proposed tariffs, which are 25% on imports from Canada, are put in place, it will impact us directly right here in Western Manitoba, and there's nothing we can do about it for the next several months, Mazur said. We have so many issues that need the government's attention. Parliament needs to get back to work. Neepawa hydrants in top-tier condition. LA wildfires spotlights importance of hydrant maintenance. The tragic wildfires in Los Angeles have spotlighted the importance of consistent fire hydrant maintenance. Over the last 2 weeks, the world has watched as large sections of America's second largest city burn. The issue started from the dangerous combination of smoldering embers, high winds, and dry land. Unfortunately, the problems have been made worse, with several media outlets reporting problems with the operation of fire hydrants across LA. A lack of consistent inspection has been cited as part of the reasoning for the issue. In the past, there was a time when Neepawa's fire hydrants were not checked and flushed regularly. That all changed over 20 years ago, and it has remained a part of the community ever since. The Banner and Press contacted the town of Neepawa recently, curious about the consistency of hydrant examination and maintenance. Town staff confirmed that they mandate an inspection and flushing of the lines a minimum of once a year. It's usually done in the fall during the annual winterizing process. This examination of the town's 228 hydrants has been since part of the schedule consistently since 2004. Canada Post struggles continue. This article by Ken Waddell. After many weeks of a labor strike by the Canadian Union of Postal Workers that wasn't actually solved, Canada Post now has some local issues. The Neepawa Banner and Press was notified by Catherine Birch of Birnie that Canada Post would not be able to deliver mail to Birnie as of Monday, January 13th. The Canada Post customers at Birnie were advised that their temporary delivery point would be McCreary Post Office, a one-way distance of 24 miles. What brought on that change was a driver for a 28 customer rural delivery route to the south and east of McCreary retiring, and Canadian Post wanted to add those 28 drops to the Birnie delivery program. The person is Allison Gilmore of Kelwood. Gilmore's current route, which includes dropping mail off at community drop boxes at Birnie and Kelwood, said, "I decided to decline the extra route. Combined with the extra time required, the extra driving on country roads in all conditions, I just didn't want to take it on. We also farm, so there's only so much time you can be away from the cattle. Canada Post is requiring my resignation." Birch said, "They keep destroying the Canadian Postal Service. It's too bad somebody has to lose a job." Birch can well remember when a few years ago, Birnie had its own post office, but it was changed to community drop boxes. The problem with community drop boxes is that a customer may not be able to get parcels, and buying stamps has to be done at a post office at a larger center. A request by the Neepawa Banner and Press to Canada Post was referred to Canada Post Media Relations. They replied by email as follows: "Thank you for reaching out to us. At the end of December, one of our 2 delivery agents for the community of Birnie resigned, followed by the 2nd employee just last week. We did begin the hiring process early this month and are close to staffing the position. Until we're fully operational in Birnie, we will be delivering mail to the community Monday and Friday. We will then move to 2 to 3 times a week as coverage permits until the position is filled. If customers have questions regarding their postal services, they can contact Canada Post's customer service team online at canadapost.ca/support or by telephone 1-866-607-630. By that response, Canada Post is indicating they plan to keep delivering to Birnie depending on availability of staff. Just by coincidence, on January 13th, the day that Gilmore's job ended, Canada Post raised the cost of a first-class stamp to $1.44 for a single stamp. As Canada Post is facing huge losses, many have suggested that door-to-door delivery 5 days a week in cities is hardly necessary. Many also question whether rural farm-to-farm delivery is needed any longer. Most people who live on rural delivery routes drive to town, sometimes daily, so end-of-lane mailbox delivery is deemed redundant by many observers. And as mentioned above, customers have to drive to a town anyway to pick up packages or to buy stamps. As of January 13th, the postal strike still hasn't been settled, and workers remain under the old wage agreement, and that isn't expected to change until spring 2025. Just an added note that the Postal Service is operating again. Neepawa Settlement Services and Westlake Employment band together. This partnership statement formalizes the collaboration between Neepawa and Area Immigrant Settlement Services and Westlake Employment Skills and Services, Incorporated. Neepawa Immigration and Settlement Services, known as NAISS, is a rural-based agency dedicated to supporting permanent residents and refugees on their journey to successful integration into Canada. NAISS serves the area of Neepawa, Minnedosa, Plumas, Gladstone, and others in the region. Westlake Employment Skills and Services Centre is a non-profit organization whose mandate is to assist the unemployed and underemployed to prepare for, find, and maintain employment by providing a variety of short-term employment employment-related services. Westlake Employment Skills and Service Centre works with clients, employers, and communities in the town of Neepawa, the rural municipality of Rosedale, the surrounding municipalities of Glenella Lansdowne, North Cypress Langford, and Westlake Gladstone. Both parties are committed to working together to provide integrated services to newcomers, immigrants, and refugees, enhancing their settlement and employment outcomes in Manitoba. This partnership reflects a shared commitment to enhancing the settlement and employment outcomes in Manitoba. By combining the resources and expertise of both organizations, we aim to create lasting, positive impacts on the lives of those we serve. And turning to Brookdale, Santa's Holiday Hoedown at Brookdale. On December 19th, the grade 5 to 8 pupils at Brookdale Elementary School performed a festive theatrical piece known as Santa's Holiday Hoedown. This surely put everyone into the spirit of Christmas ahead of the winter holidays. And celebrating 30 years of community impact. On January 1st, 2025, the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation proudly marked its 30th anniversary. To honor this milestone, we're giving back $30,000 to the community through grants to local nonprofits. Nonprofits can apply for a chance to receive funding ranging in various amounts throughout the year. Check out our website for the funding amounts breakdown. Eligibility requirements. Your nonprofit must operate within the community served by the foundation. Applications must be received by the deadline of February 14th, 2025. Applications are available on our website or by contacting the office. 204-476-2681 or go to www.beautifulplainscf.ca. Gladstone business gains national recognition. Butterfly Whispers receives Canadian Choice Award. This submitted by Casper Wareham of the Neepawa Banner and Press. A Gladstone business has been spotlighted on a national scale recently. Butterfly Whispers, custom silk florals and gifts, owned and operated by Jackie Gould of Gladstone, has received a Canadian Choice Award. These awards are organized into different categories and given out annually to celebrate small businesses in Canada. Butterfly Whispers received an award in the gift shop category. I was completely shocked. I didn't even know that I'd been nominated, said Gould. I'd received an email from the Canadian Choice Awards stating, "Hey, you are a top contender in this category." And I went, "Well, who nominated me?" "It's anonymous. I don't know who did." But I found out you needed more than 10 nominations to get on a finalist list. Gould added, "I was completely beside myself. I didn't realize I made that much of a difference." Butterfly Whispers Custom Silk Florals and Gifts specializes in alternative options for floral arrangements suitable for weddings, funerals, birthdays, graduations, and more. Gould noted that she's been making floral arrangements herself approximately for 10 years, but only officially started her business approximately 3 years ago. It was an interest that carried through the generations, with her grandma teaching Gould's mum, and then Gould herself receiving the same. Florals and handmade gifts, such as crocheting, were common in her family. I took an interest when I was young. I never thought anything of it. I just took it on as a hobby, Gould explained. Then I had made some bouquets for a friend of mine, and she said, "These are incredible. You should take this further." And then I also had the support of my husband saying, "You've got the skills, put it out there." Gould added, "The biggest thing is I don't do it for the money. I do it for the satisfaction of helping someone." Like I said, I took it on as a hobby and I grew to love it because it made so many more people happy. And with the way the world is nowadays, if I can make one person happy, I've done my job. Gould's efforts on that front have taken different forms, such as unique plans for families with lower budgets, annual graduation deals on items such as corsages, and more. I'm incredibly humbled by the whole experience, and to know that I make that much of a difference really makes it worthwhile. I hope one day that my kids want to take over. I have a little girl now, and my son, he watches me make these flowers, and he goes, "Mom, they're so pretty." "You're doing so good," said Gould. "Knowing that I have that support from my kids alone, and my husband, my friends, and my family, it's made a world of difference." I used to look at it as, well, it's not good enough, but now I can say, yes, I am good enough. Good for you. And turning to sports, Neepawa hosts the 2025 U11 Tournament of Champions. Neepawa Minor Hockey and the U11 Neepawa Titans hosted their annual Tournament of Champions at the Yellowhead Centre on January 9th to the 12th. The U11 Titans were perfect in the round-robin portion of the tournament, going 3 wins, 0 losses. After defeating Souris in the semi-final, they faced the Pilot Mound Pilots in the final. Though they put on a great effort, Neepawa was finally bested over the weekend, falling 3-1. Despite the loss, the Titans players and coaches, as well as everyone involved with the organization of the Tournament of Champions, should be extremely proud of the results. Tigers hockey win 2 of 3, submitted by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute Tigers are back from the Christmas break, having played 3 games in the Westman High School Hockey League. Their first game was at home on January 8th against Crocus Plains and saw the Tigers fall in overtime 3-2. Crocus Plains came back from the holidays, hiatus ready to go, and it showed in the first period, outshooting Neepawa 17-9. They'd also score a goal in the dying seconds of a power play to take the lead in those first 20 minutes of action. Neepawa's most recent home game was on Wednesday, January 15th, and concluded after the Banner and the Press publication deadline. Details on that, as well as the game versus Roblin on Friday, January 17th, will appear in the January 29th edition. Excuse me. And it's been a relatively rough start to 2025 for the Neepawa Titans. The Neepawa Titans were thrown right into the deep end of the proverbial pool to start the 2025, facing the top 3 clubs in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League. They opened up the second half of the season with the Steinbach Pistons, a team that boasts the best record league-wide. While the Titans gave it their best, the depth of the Pistons proved to be too much, as Steinbach won 5-3. On Tuesday, January 7th, Neepawa went down to Winkler to take on the defending league champs, the Flyers. This game was a great effort for the Titans as they matched Winkler goal for goal, sending it to overtime and eventually a shootout. The Flyers would secure the extra point, however, winning the shootout and securing a 3-2 win. The next two games for Neepawa will also be challenging as they once again face the league-leading Steinbach Pistons and the Winkler Flyers. That matchup with Winkler will be here at home at the Yellowhead Centre on January 21st. Start time set for 7:30. And Neepawa Farmers defeated by Virden. Updates from across the Tiger Hills Hockey League. Owen Devereaux is keeping us informed. An impressive offensive push in the second period proved to be enough for the Virden Oil Kings to claim a 5-2 win over the Neepawa Farmers on Saturday, January 11th. The Oil Kings scored 3 goals, including the eventual game winner from Shane Keon, to collect the win on the road at the Yellowhead Centre. Minnedosa lost to McGregor. Carberry nearly defeat Killarney. So January 21st, go see the Neepawa Titans in action versus Winkler. January 24th, they play the Winnipeg Blues. The 31st, Swan Valley. And 2 games coming up in February. The 15th, they host Virden. And on the 22nd, Wayway Secapo. And Right in the Center by Ken Waddell. Some housing and immigration questions. Population growth and immigration numbers are in the news again. In 2023, 2,656 people left Manitoba. 25,591 people moved into Manitoba. 11,994 people died, and 17,146 babies were born. The province of Manitoba wants to bring in another 12,000 foreign worker immigrants in 2025. Companies are begging for more workers to fill waiting jobs in many sectors. Universities and colleges are protesting cuts in foreign student numbers imposed by the federal government. Educational institutes have been charging much higher fees for foreign students than Canadians. There's a lot of forces at play here. The federal cutback on foreign students is coming as many places in Canada simply can't find housing for the extra students or the workers. An internet search on January 13th showed 11 real estate listings for Neepawa, 52 for Virden, 11 in Rivers, and 103 for Brandon. Some of those listings are empty lots, so they're likely a year away from a livable home. It appears that in rural Manitoba, a service lot for a single-family home runs around $45,000 to $60,000. The upcoming Liberal leadership race and the likely soon-to-follow Canadian election will be fought on many issues, but 2 of the big ones will be immigration and housing. How many newcomers does Canada need? Or more importantly, how many newcomers can be housed? In some smaller towns, there's always been the question as to why not convert unused retail space into housing. There's a general rule enforced, I believe, by the province that only the back half of retail main floor space can be used for housing. In Neepawa, new apartments have to have 1.5 parking spots per resident. That seems restrictive. Some rural towns have strict regulations against modular homes and almost no provision for so-called tiny homes. That's a bit ironic, as there are in most small towns some very small one-bedroom houses that have been there for many decades. Back in the day, people built what they could afford, as opposed to building the most you can finance nowadays. Now, this is an interesting point. If you add up all the homes in Canada and all the families or people that need homes, we likely have way more than one home per family. How so? Just count up the number of times where people own 2 or 3 homes, and I don't mean rental properties. If you figure in all the cottages and summer homes, there are way more homes in Canada than we need. If we lived in a communist country, and that wouldn't be a good thing, there would be more than enough homes, as one family would only theoretically be allowed to own one house. There's another little secret, and this is Manitoba housing. It has at times been a gong show where there are empty Manitoba housing units in rural towns. Some have been sold off, some aren't rented, and some have been let go to ruin. I guess that shows up the bad side of government. The Conservative Party of Canada, or at least their leader, Pierre Poilievre, claims to have a lot of solutions to housing. It looks like they could be in power in a few months, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle housing and immigrations. One thing, when towns started to get a large number of foreign workers, there were a few people who objected that the newcomers were taking our kids' jobs. It didn't take long to debunk that idea by simply asking, "Oh, where are your kids now?" The answer was often, "A city far away." Newcomers didn't take kids' jobs. The kids left a long time ago, and many wouldn't take the kinds of jobs that newcomers would do anyway. The next few months will be interesting times. And Homebodies by Rita Friesen. Winter Wonderland. The daily walks are invigorating, breathtaking, challenging, and delightful. Several times this winter, I've walked past the light pollution of our town into the darkness and simply gazed at the beauty of the winter night sky. There is the silence, there is the depth of darkness, and there is the glory of the stars, the moon reflecting on the snow, the vastness of our world. My little dog must think it's queer to stop without a townhouse near. Robert Frost, mutilated, she says. Airy sits patiently, a steady companion, alert for an unusual sound or movement, delighted with the tracks of deer and rabbits. We stand but for a lengthy moment, for it is winter in Manitoba. Daytime walks have been wondrous this winter as well. We had the magnificent hoarfrost. On the coldest days, there are exhaust fumes lingering and fogging up the streets, and the stark dark of barren branches against the icy blue sky. These are the scenes I embrace, sense and feel, even after donning a quilted walking skirt, the warmest parka, boots and mitts for me, and a warm jacket for Airy, and applying foot wax on all 4 paws. There are days we grab 2 short walks for safety rather than one long one. This is a part of my winter wonderland. There is another part. It is my winter wonderland. I wonder if it pays to clear the drive or wait until the next blow comes through. I wonder if my garden and lawn area are damaged when I scoop salty snow slush off the drive and out of the garage onto the sleeping yard. I wonder if I should be borrowing or buying a roof rake and removing some of the snow from the house and garages. I wonder if the wind chill indicates that Ari and I should skip taking a walk. One doctor advised me that if I thought it was too cold for the dog, perhaps it was too cold for me to be out long as well. My winter wondering expands, and I am good at imagining. I wonder who would I call if the power went out while I was in full recline in my powered recliner. I had a test run of that a while ago. I am still agile enough to clamber over the side to safety, but it ain't pretty. That 5-minute trial also had me wondering where the flashlights and candles were and which ones needed new batteries. I wonder if we will still see blizzards like I had seen in the past. I can't say that I ever walked on snowbanks high enough to touch the telephone wire back when we had lines and poles for our telephones, but I know folks who did. I can recall family members needing to be dug out of their farm homes, the snow being high enough to block exit by door or windows. I can recall trenches deep enough that one could not see over the edge to the horizon for highway travel. Southern Manitoba, but I remember. I shall attempt to focus on the wonderland, not the wonderland. And out of Helen's kitchen, the alphabet line. This is submitted by Helen Drysdale. In 1903, the Grand Trunk Railway from Eastern Canada established a subsidiary, the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway, to build a transcontinental railway running from Fort William, Ontario, to Prince Rupert, British Columbia. The CPR had been given generous land grants from the Canadian government, but they'd received no federal grants. It purchased 45,000 acres of land for 86 town sites. It advertised them as towns made to order. The first mention of the new town of Rivers in the media came on July 22, 1908, when the Brandon Sun headline declared, "Rivers will be good town." Rivers was just the right distance from Winnipeg to be designated as a divisional point. It would require a large station, a roundhouse, and a host of storage, maintenance, and house facilities. Construction on the track proceeded west to Saskatoon in 1907, proceeded to Edmonton in 1909, and through Jasper into the Yellowhead Pass, crossing the Continental Divide in 1910-1911. The last spike ceremony celebrating the completion of the rail line across the prairies and through the Rocky Mountains to the new seaport at Prince Rupert, British Columbia, was held on April 7, 1914. The Grand Trunk Pacific Railway faced severe competition from the Canadian Pacific Railway and the Canadian Northern Railway, both of which had excellent branch and feeder lines on the prairie. The CPR occupied the more populous southern route in the prairies. Construction costs, wartime restrictions, a decline of people using train travel, and the lack of worthwhile branch lines brought the GTPR into receivership. As the Canadian Northern Railway was also in difficulties, a royal commission was appointed by the government in 1916 to investigate the railway situation in Canada. On January 31st, 1923, both railways were acquired by the government and integrated into one system to form the Canadian National Railway System. And in tribute, and Helen here has an alphabet soup recipe. And that's to commemorate the rail line. So, take a look in the paper. It looks yummy. It has a lot of different vegetables in it. And worth a try. Thank you, Helen. And now reading some obituaries. First one is Marion Colasar. Surrounded by her family, Mom passed away on January 10th, 2025. She will be lovingly remembered by her husband Jim, children Denise, Alex McLean, husband, son Tom, Cindy Williams, son Jerry, wife Gloria, son Mark, wife Nancy, by her beloved grandsons Riley, Hayden, Austin, Cody, Nate, and Mason, and her new baby great-great-granddaughter Sutton. Also surviving are her sisters Irene Kapek and Carol Prodzik, many nieces, nephews, and cousins. She was predeceased by her parents, Bill and Jessie Kirkowich, parents-in-law, Henry and Helen Colasar, and brothers-in-law, Victor Kapek and Gordon Prodzik. Mom will be missed and lovingly remembered by all those whose lives she touched. The family is grateful for the nurses, healthcare aides, kitchen and housekeeping staff, and all who looked after her while she was in the hospital, and also for the home care staff that supported her through the last few years. Thank you to Dr. Jaid for her care. A special thank you to Mary Ellen Clark, who supported both Mom and the family as we navigated through the final months and days. Flowers are graciously declined. Donations can be made in Mom's memory to the Neepawa Palliative Care Unit, Box 1240, Neepawa. And Harold John Single, another beautiful soul and shining light to guide his family on earth. It is with great sadness that we announce the sudden passing of our dear father, Harold Single. Dad passed away on Monday, January 6, 2025, at the age of 93. Very few words can describe our dad. He was and always will be one of a kind. Funeral service was held on Monday, January 13th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. at Christ Lutheran Church in Waldersea, with Pastor Jim and Hilda Vickers officiating. Interment will take place in Waldersea Churchyard Cemetery. Velda Grace Jackson, nee Darby. Peacefully on the morning of January 11th, 2025, Velda passed away at the Concordia Place Personal Care Home. She was born in Summerside, PEI on June 2nd, 1933. Left to cherish her memory are her children, Alan, Daniel, Margaret, and Joyce, and the entire Jackson and Darby family. Special thanks to Judy and Ryan for the comfort you provided Vida while she was in the care home. As well, a big thank you to the caring staff at the Concordia Personal Care Home. A celebration of life will take place at a later date. And Donna Lillian Nicholson entered into rest on December 23, 2024, with family by her side. She was 94. Donna was born January 7, 1930, and was the only daughter of Robert and Lillian Marley. Donna and Bill Nicholson were married in the Neepawa Church on February 25, 1950. They had 3 daughters, Moira, Norma, and Lori. Donna is survived by her daughters Norma and Lori, her grandchildren Brad, Dallas, Blake, great-grandchildren Casey, Russell, Riley, Gavin, Garrett, Ada, and Otto, brother Barry, and sister-in-law Joanne and Anne. In lieu of flowers, the family would ask that donations in Donna's name be made to Franklin Memorial Hall or a charity of choice. A private graveside service is to be held at a later date. And a couple of birthdays. Happy 90th birthday, Mom. We've been blessed to have you in our lives for so many years and look forward to many more. Love, Beverly, Anne, Leona, Catherine, Valerie, spouses, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And a happy 90th birthday to Cliff Taylor. We have a memory in memory of William Bill Fedak, born January 14, 1918, and passed January 15, 2012. Husband, dad, Gigi, and great-granddad. May the winds of heaven blow softly and whisper in your ear how much we love and miss you and wish that you were here. Very much loved and missed by Eva, Greg, and Leanne, Cody, Brennan, and Natasha, Lincoln and Nova, Jane and Grant, Kevin and Zoe. And don't forget to take a look at the Kids Scoop. It's Be Money, all about Be Money Smart. Be Money Smart. And there's lots of activities for your kids to do. And looks like a real neat page there. So check that out. Page 19 of the January 17th Neepawa Banner and Press. Now we're looking back into 2005. Neepawa Sand Store's fate is up in the air. 20 years ago. Workers at Neepawa Sand Store may be anxious about the fate of their jobs. But if they are, they're not talking about it, at least not publicly. Neepawa Sand is one of 223 locations undergoing a national-wide liquidation, following the sale of the retail outlet to Toronto-based Sand Acquisition Corporation. The company has already moved its headquarters from Winnipeg to Toronto, letting go of 200 workers in the process. And Sand Executive Vice President Robert Sorensen said that's just the beginning. He said the money-losing chain, which owes creditors at least $48 million, will be closing a significant number of stores in order to survive. The closing of Brandon Sand has already been confirmed, but the fate of several rural Manitoba stores, including Neepawa, Dauphin, and Russell, hadn't been announced. Neepawa's water tower required emergency repairs during the holiday season after a leak was discovered in a pipe. And 125 years ago, January 17th, 1900, Orange Ridge. Our photographer is very busy these days. The Harry Lindley Company will open here on Friday evening, January 26th, having postponed their appearance here. It says, there's a note, the entries for 1900 are from the Neepawa Register, as the press for that year is not fit for regular handling. And 100 years ago, January 13th, 1925, in Arden, under the auspices of the Boys' Work Board, lantern slide pictures of an interesting type will be shown on Wednesday evening in the Odd Fellows Hall. Everyone is welcome. And in Kelwood, 100 years ago, a small fire broke out in Shaw's blacksmith shop. Saturday morning and the evening of the same day, another broke out in Tyreman's garage. Both fires were extinguished without calling out the fire brigade. This town has natural facilities for tobogganing, but little use is made of them. Hence a suggestion. Why not clear the brush from Brown Avenue down the hill northward from the Salvation Army corner? It would not cost much. There is no traffic in that vicinity, so that no danger of collision with vehicles such as exists on other hillside roadways. That wouldn't be the case today. 75 years ago, January 19th, 1950, parents in Neepawa will be pleased to know that a ballet dancing class is being formed in Neepawa, and arrangements have been made to have one of the most competent instructors of the Winnipeg Ballet Club come to Neepawa to teach the youngsters this beautiful form of dancing. 50 years ago, January 16, 1975, Jack Friesen, president of the Plumas Rink Committee, claims that the town of Plumas was settled 100 years ago during the period 1875 to 1885. It was named in 1888 by James Anderson, the early postmaster, who came from Plumas County, California. Prior to that date, it was known as Richmond. Mr. Friesen feels that something should be done to mark the centennial. The Rink Committee's project will be to build an addition to the north end of the arena, 76 feet by 12 feet. A number of Neepawa press readers have been asking about the progress, or lack of it, being made in the development of the huge iron ore deposit which lies beneath our feet, and we are pleased to publish a report on the editorial page in this issue, written by C.H. Bethel, a freelance writer in Victoria and a shareholder of Twodale Explorations Limited, which drilled a test hole 4 miles southeast of town last summer. Mr. Bethel says the iron ore find is being bypassed by the government bodies concerned. I get the impression that projects sponsored by provincial government as well as the federal government are in a large part instigated by lobbyists and their advocates, or are trade-off deals between the various governments. Therefore, I submit this report on a huge natural resource, iron in Manitoba, which I fear is being bypassed in favor of something so infinite in comparison that I cannot remain silent on this subject. We talked with William Kohinski of Winnipeg, Secretary of Tudale Explorations Limited, who confirmed the facts in Mr. Bethel's story and added further that talks are underway with representatives of the provincial government to study sources of financial assistance to carry out the drilling of at least 3 more test holes to prove out the extent of the iron ore deposit. And a scale model beaver home constructed and raffled by NACI students was won Friday by a 10-year-old Verdon resident, Cindy Lynn Elliott. The 2 Neepawa residents will compete in the Winnipeg to St. Paul 500 snowmobile race as 2 of more than 300 contestants who are vying for some $35,000 in prize money. Robert Delalloy and John B. Jensen, both sponsored by Green Acres Farm Equipment, will operate identical John Deere 340 snow machines in the race scheduled January 21st and 23rd. And that was 50 years ago. Wow. Okay, we're getting to the end of the paper. We will read one more, and that is the Carberry Chamber AGM highlights its community efforts by Casper Wareham. The Carberry and District Chamber of Commerce held its annual general meeting recently. With it came some recognition for a number of individuals from that area. The AGM to review the 2024 year included the return of awards night, spotlighting individuals and businesses for their efforts and achievements. The awards were announced by Marie Bednarchuk and presented as follows. Outstanding Youth of the Year goes to Corbin Knoll. Knoll is a volunteer with the North Cyprus Langford Fire Department. Cadet Program, the social media representative for the Carberry Collegiate Student Council, and has worked at the Foxtail Golf Course and Petro Can gas station. Community Member of the Year, winner, Grady Stevenson. Stevenson is Carberry's current Chief Administrative Officer, but has served in many other capacities with the town and the municipality. These roles have included town foreman and manager of parks, facilities, and sanitation. Business of the Year, Callahan's. This award recognizes the dedication, hard work, and positive influence of the store, owners, and staff team. Callahan's has supported a variety of local causes and is recognized as a leader in the business community. Volunteer of the Year, Deanna Leckerman. Leckerman is the Vice President of the Carberry Ag Society and has been involved with several community activities and fundraising events. She's also involved in leading the committee of volunteers who are fundraising for Carberry's future splash park. Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Brad Wells. Wells has held a number of leadership roles, including a counselor and for the RM of North Cyprus and Reeve, President and Secretary Treasurer with the Wellwood Community Club, member of the Carberry Recreational Board, and more. Congratulations is also extended to all those who were nominated for the listed awards. Official business. During the official AGM, the executive went to a vote to elect individuals for seats in the chamber. The executive of the Chamber for the 2025 year is Marie Budnarchuk, Chair, Pamela McTavish, Vice Chair, Dawn Forbes, Treasurer, Shandar Elmhurst is the Secretary, and Economic Development Officer, Birnie. Chamber Representative Birnie provided additional comments on January 10th, noting that the Carberry District Chamber of Commerce now has 96 members, up from the previous year of 75. In just 2 short years, our membership has grown from 32 members to just under 100. Birnie also shared information on community projects and growth. 2024 and 25 were earmarked by the Chamber to update our community signs. No small task, and continue to get our business community in the spotlight regionally. We are working really hard on some projects that will be collaborating with other chambers in the province, said Birnie. Our Main Street in Carberry has boomed to 98% capacity in 2024, with 90% of those businesses being chamber members and supporting each other in their services. Carberry District Chamber President Marie Budnarchuk added a final comment, noting, "We have had some great firsts over the last couple of years. November 2023, we had our inaugural career fair trade show. In 2024, we started our business after 5 events. And we had a December activities committee who did amazing work, creating new events and changing up some old ones, creating a full month of fun in Carberry." And that is the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, January 17th. Stay warm and stay well.